Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a delightful, delicious, lovely new recording of Estonian composer Lepo Sumera's Symphonies numbers 1 and 6, the outskirts of his symphonic oeuvre. He wrote 6 symphonies, let's put it that way, the first and the last. Now, these have all been recorded before and extremely well for BIS under Paavo Järvi with the Estonian National Symphony Orchestra, which is playing these two. So if you have those, let's be straightforward, you're in really good shape. If you love them, you may want to hear alternative interpretations, although the differences are not like massively crazy, but these are richly scored works, let's put it that way. So there are differences in detail, which, you may notice if you know them really, really, really well. Now, Sumera lived from, 1950 to 2000. He passed away precipitously, and he was young. And it's a shame because he wrote a lot of music, and it's very, very good once he gave up atonality, which he did, in 1981, well, about the time he wrote the first symphony. Because he decided to return, as did Arvo Pärt and other composers in his circle, to a more approachable way of writing music, and also one which was discreetly a protest against what was then, the Brezhnev era and, the fading days of the Soviet Union. There were political issues afoot, but we don't need to worry about those in listening to the music, really. There isn't a hidden message the way people sort of think of Shostakovich's music and Sumera's music, or if there is, it doesn't really make any difference. Well, it doesn't make any difference for Shostakovich either, does it? It's just very, very good music. It's somewhat almost proto-minimalistic. The notes talk about how the end of the first movement of the first symphony is quite similar to John Adams' Shaker Loops, a work written about a year later, and Adams knew the Sumera Symphony, and actually wrote him a letter saying he heard it and he loved it and whatnot. So whether that, again, this is biographical stuff. What you hear in the first symphony, and both of these symphonies are in 2 movements, is a rich tapestry of sonic events, most of them pitched in a tonal/modal harmonic idiom. There's a healthy dose of dissonance, but the focus is on atmosphere. In the first music, it's very meditative. There's a charming interlude in the middle for Celesta with tam-tam behind it. Some really evocative sounds that I think are quite personal. It's an interior monologue. The second movement, on the other hand, begins almost imperceptibly in the high strings and then develops into almost a scherzo-like thing with circus music and some of that biting Shostakovichian irony. It's really rather cool. And then it fades away. Again, it's about 30 minutes long. It has really no dead spots. I enjoyed it very, very much. Now, Symphony number 6 is much more compressed. It's 22 minutes in this performance. And the first movement is marked Andante Furioso. So the pieces, they go very well together because they're mirror images of each other. The first movement begins meditatively, and the second movement has the more ferocious elements. Here, it begins Andante Furioso. The 6th symphony does. And it's Furioso. It has some really violent outbreaks. The harmonic language is a bit more dissonant, but not difficult in an off-putting way. The outbursts here, these huge outbursts, remind me a bit of the big outbursts in Gia Cancelli's music. Remember him? He was had his 15 minutes of fame a couple decades ago. He's a very good composer also, but he wrote pieces that were very, very soft, and then they would explode. You get a sense of that here in the first movement. But the second movement, which combines an adagio and a scherzo sort of like thing, is the more tranquil and meditative response to the fury and destructive forces unleashed in the first movement. They're both really compelling pieces, and they are marvelously well played here. They really are. They sound fabulous. The recordings are terrific. Ondine's engineers really knocked the ball out of the park with this one. I mean, if you have a sound system and you want to hear some really fantastic, evocative, atmospheric sounds enveloping you in your listening room, then you are really going to enjoy this. The conductor is Olari Elts, Elts. He certainly has the measure of the music. And I think if you don't know Sumera and you're interested, like I said, in worthwhile contemporary works, 20th century works, and Scandinavian composers generally, what they're doing and how they're doing it, then you're gonna find this a terrific discovery. And if you like it and you want to hear more, all the other symphonies are available on BIS, as are these and other orchestral works by him as well. A really fine series on BIS with Paavo Järvi. So you're in good shape. Sumera is in good shape. So give it a shot and see what you think. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.